I opened this mini seminar on the topic of interest. How about this for a thought? On the first year of your mortgage, you're not going to be paying 8% like you think you are. You're actually going to be paying 84% interest on your loan. Now you think, how's that possible? Well, the way that it's geared is that you pay a lot more interest at the first few years of your loan, and then at the back end, a lot less. So for example, if I was to have a loan which I had to pay back $19,936 a year, I would have to pay $3,169 in principal, and the other $16,767,000 would actually be interest, which is how I get that percentage. 16,767 divided by 19,936 is actually 84%. And then in year 2, it's probably not going to be much different. It's probably going to be 82% interest. Which is why, especially in the early years, it is so important to make early repayments. For example, if I was to pay back an extra $200 a month, that percentage may go from 84% to 75%. Now 75% is still a lot of interest to pay, but at the same time, it is a very good percentage when compared to 84%, and something that should be considered to get into good money habits early on. In fact, with 4 years out of 25 years remaining on your loan, you're still going to owe 31% principal on the house, which is about 1/3, despite the fact you've been making repayments for 21 years. I also want to bring to your attention some property myths. A lot of people say you can't go past bricks and mortar, and you can't lose by buying a house, but the fact is you can. The market has changed, and years ago, whereas this may have been true to a certain extent, these days, the fact that you have to pay so much stamp duty and fees up front, it just simply isn't true. If I was to buy a house for $300,000 and the market went really bad and there was about 4 interest rate rises quickly, I don't think I'd be able to, number one, make those repayments, and number two, sell the house for that amount again. So what could happen as a worst case scenario? I may only be able to sell the house for $280,000, losing 20 grand, as well as losing 20 grand on my initial fees on stamp duty, lender's mortgage insurance, conveyancing, etc. And thirdly, if I haven't been smart about the loan I've taken, I may have to pay massive exit fees. So it's a real danger to think you can't lose on property, because in that particular case, although it is an absolute worst case scenario, you can lose $20,000 in the price, $20,000 in the startup, and then maybe another $5,000 to $10,000 in exit fees. So you won't have a house, and yet you're still going to have a loan for close to $50,000, which will be an absolute disaster. So that's why I really encourage you to be smart about what sort of loan you take and the property, and have a strategy for now, for 5 years' time, and beyond. Now the last thing I'm going to leave you with, because I'm sure a lot of you out there are still saving a deposit, is how much does it actually take to save a $10,000 deposit? You'll probably be really surprised from the results, because the answer is not $10,000. It's probably about $40,000, if not a lot more, depending on your lifestyle and the expenses you have to pay. In the First Home Buyer's Manual, you'll be able to find this sheet with this analysis. But if your salary was $40,000 a year, up front you're only going to receive 32 of that, because $8,000 is going to be taxed. On top of that, you may be currently renting and have food bills and other bills, so your living expenses are going to probably be another 10 grand. Then your next biggest expense in most cases is going to be your car, which is going to be registration, petrol, insurance, servicing, and potentially loan repayments. I've estimated this to be probably $6,000 a year on an average person. Once then you actually enjoy yourself and have a bit of a life, you're going to spend probably another $3,000 at least on entertainment over 12 months. And that leaves you with a whole $900 to play with. So if you're in the mindset now that you're going to keep saving $10,000 every year for the next 3 years, that could be great. But remember, you're going to have to probably earn over 100 grand just to get there. And in 3 years' time anyway, what's the property market going to have done? It may have gone up way more than that $30,000 that you're looking to save. So it is unpredictable what's going to happen, but just be aware of what it takes to save this money. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this bonus material, and I really encourage you to, number one, just get out there and start becoming an area specialist, and number two, understanding the finances behind what you're doing, and get the best loan and pre-approval set up now, so that when the time comes to buy a house, you're ready to go. Thanks for listening and good luck.